Here's the thing about the American dream in 2026. It comes with a price tag that'll make your wallet weep. We're talking $5 million. Yep, you heard that right. 5 million big ones for that classic slice of paradise. The house, the car, the kids' college funds, and maybe a vacation that doesn't involve sleeping in your cousin's basement. But here's where it gets really fun. And by fun, I mean absolutely terrifying. The average American will earn about $1.7 million in their entire lifetime. Let me do the math for you, because apparently nobody else wants to. 5 million minus 1.7 million equals, well, let's just say you're about $3.3 million short of living the dream. That's not just inflation, folks. That's the brutal reality of what it costs to be average in today's world. And get this, that $5 million price tag just went up by $600,000 from last year alone. $600,000. That's like adding another entire house to the cost of the American dream in just 12 months. Meanwhile, your salary probably went up by, maybe 3% if you were lucky? The gap isn't just widening, it's turning into the Grand Canyon of financial impossibility. Remember when your parents told you to work hard, get good grades, and everything would work out? Yeah, well, I'm here to tell you that advice has become a beautiful, shiny trap. The middle-class safety net your grandparents enjoyed, it got packed up and shipped overseas along with all of those manufacturing jobs. The average life you were promised got canceled faster than a Netflix show nobody watched. Your grandparents could buy a house on a single income, take annual vacations without going into debt, and actually retire with dignity. They lived in an era where being average meant having a small house, a reliable car, and enough left over for the occasional splurge. Today, being average means you're constantly one unexpected expense away from financial disaster, juggling credit cards like a circus performer, and praying your car doesn't break down because you literally can't afford the repair. So, what does being average actually look like in 2026? Buckle up, because this ride gets bumpy fast. The median salary in the United States hovers around $62,000 a year. Sounds decent, right? That's about $1,200 a week before Uncle Sam takes his generous cut. After taxes, you're looking at roughly $4,000 a month in your pocket. Now, here's where the fun really begins. The average American is carrying around $105,000 in debt like it's a designer handbag they can't afford to put down. Credit cards, student loans, car payments. It's like a greatest hits album of financial stress. And savings? Oh, that's adorable. The average American has less than $1,000 saved up. That's barely enough to cover a decent emergency, let alone build any kind of future. Think about that for a second. $1,000 in savings. That's less than most people spend on their smartphones over 2 years. It's less than a single month's rent in most cities. It's basically nothing in today's economy. Meanwhile, over half of Americans, 53% to be exact, had to withdraw money from their savings accounts in the past year just to keep up with daily expenses. The average withdrawal? $2,900. So not only do people have almost no savings, they're actively draining what little they have just to survive.
Let's break down that monthly budget, shall we? It's like watching a magic trick where your money disappears before your very eyes. Rent or mortgage eats up nearly $2,000, and that's if you're lucky enough to live somewhere that doesn't require selling a kidney for a studio apartment. Transportation gobbles up another $1,000 because apparently teleportation is still not a thing. Food costs about $400, assuming you're not dining exclusively on ramen and dreams. Then there's that lovely debt service, another $300 to $400 vanishing into the void of past mistakes and necessary evils. Insurance, utilities, phone bills, and all those other delightful monthly subscriptions that somehow multiply like rabbits. There goes another few $100. Add it all up, and you've got about $200 left over. $200. That's your margin for error, your fun money, your maybe I'll save for the future fund. One car repair, one medical bill, one anything unexpected, and boom, you're borrowing money just to stay afloat. But wait, there's more. Being average doesn't just cost you money, it costs you time. The average American spends 27 minutes commuting to work and another 27 minutes coming home. That's nearly an hour every single day, sitting in traffic, thinking about all the things they'd rather be doing. Over a lifetime, that's years of your life spent staring at brake lights and listening to the same radio commercials. And here's something that'll really bake your noodle. You know Homer Simpson, that lovable cartoon dad with his house, car, 3 kids, and stay-at-home wife? To live Homer's life today, you'd need to earn nearly $120,000 a year. A cartoon character's lifestyle is now upper middle class. Let that sink in for a moment. The Simpsons, a show that was literally designed to portray a struggling working-class family, now depicts a lifestyle that's completely out of reach for the actual working class. The real tragedy isn't just the money, though. It's what being trapped in average does to your soul. When you're living paycheck to paycheck with zero margin for error, you can't take risks. You can't chase that crazy business idea. You can't go back to school. You can't move to a new city for love or adventure. You become a prisoner of your own circumstances, watching opportunities pass by because you simply can't afford to fail. The comfort zone becomes the danger zone because staying put feels safer than risking the little security you have. But here's the twisted irony. That security is an illusion. You're not actually secure when you're one emergency away from financial ruin. You're just postponing the inevitable while watching your dreams slowly suffocate under the weight of monthly obligations. This is what I call the crab bucket mentality. You know how when you put crabs in a bucket, they'll pull each other down instead of helping each other escape? That's exactly what happens in average land. Friends and family will tell you to be realistic, to stop dreaming so big, to just be grateful for what you have. They're not being mean, they're scared. Scared that if you break free, it'll highlight just how trapped they really are. They'll say things like, money isn't everything, and at least you have a steady job, and why rock the boat? But here's what they're really saying. Please don't make me confront how small I've allowed my life to become. It's not malicious, it's human nature. Misery loves company, and mediocrity loves it even more.
The psychological cost of mediocrity is that you bury your potential alive. You start believing that this is just how life is supposed to be. You convince yourself that struggling is normal, that barely getting by is responsible, that dreaming bigger is selfish or unrealistic. You develop what I call learned helplessness, the belief that your circumstances are permanent and unchangeable. But here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. You're playing a game that's mathematically rigged against the average player. The system is designed to keep you running on a hamster wheel, generating wealth for others while you exhaust yourself just trying to keep up. The house always wins. And in this case, the house is a rigged economy that profits from your desperation. You cannot budget your way out of the average trap. I don't care how many lattes you skip or how many coupons you clip. When the fundamental equation is broken, when your earning potential can't keep up with the cost of the life you want, cutting expenses is like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. Sure, you might save a few bucks here and there, but you're not solving the core problem. The core problem is that average income no longer supports an average lifestyle. The math simply doesn't work anymore. You can optimize your budget until you're blue in the face, but you can't optimize your way out of a system that's fundamentally broken. So what's the escape plan? I'm glad you asked, because this is where things get exciting. Step 1, accept that average is broken. This isn't about blame or shame. It's about clarity. The system that worked for previous generations doesn't work anymore. The rules changed, but nobody sent out a memo. Once you accept this reality, you can stop trying to win an unwinnable game and start playing a different one entirely. This acceptance is liberating because it means you can stop beating yourself up for not succeeding in a rigged system. It's not your fault that following all the traditional advice led you to a dead end. The advice was outdated the moment it left someone's mouth. Step 2, address the skill gap. The only way to beat inflation and increase your earning potential is to become more valuable. That means learning skills that are in high demand and short supply. Artificial intelligence, sales, coding, digital marketing. These aren't just buzzwords, they're your ticket to a different income bracket. The beautiful thing about living in 2026 is that you can learn almost anything online, often for free or cheap. The key is to focus on skills that can't be easily outsourced or automated. skills that require human creativity, emotional intelligence, or complex problem solving. Skills that businesses desperately need but can't find enough qualified people to fill. These are your golden tickets out of average town. Step 3. Temporarily downgrade your lifestyle to upgrade your future. This is the part that separates the dreamers from the doers. Sell that expensive car and buy something reliable but boring. Get a roommate. Move back in with family if you have to. Cook at home instead of ordering takeout. Cancel subscriptions you don't absolutely need. The goal is to free up $500 a month, money you can invest in yourself, in courses, in starting a side business, in building something that matters. I know what you're thinking. This sounds hard, maybe even impossible. But here's the thing about impossible. It's just another word for something nobody's figured out yet. Every person who's ever broken free from average had to make uncomfortable choices. They had to disappoint people who wanted them to stay small. They had to bet on themselves when nobody else would. The beautiful irony is that the same people who tell you to be realistic and settle for average will be the first ones asking for your advice when you break free. They'll want to know your secret as if there's some magic formula. The secret is simple. You stopped accepting average as your ceiling and started treating it as your floor. The cost of staying average is your life, your dreams, your potential, your freedom. The cost of breaking free is temporary discomfort and a lot of hard work. When you put it like that, the choice becomes pretty clear. Freedom starts the moment you decide that average is no longer good enough for you. It starts when you realize that the life you want is worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, worth taking risks for. The American dream might cost $5 million, but freedom is priceless, and it's available to anyone willing to stop accepting average as their ceiling. Your move, future millionaire. The question isn't whether you can afford to change, it's whether you can afford not to. The clock is ticking, the game is rigged, but the exit door is right there waiting for you to walk through it. What are you gonna do?